But to say Shai has simply been efficient this season would be an understatement. So far this season, Shai is scoring 1.6 points every time he shoots the ball. That is the most points per shot by any volume scoring guard in the history of the NBA.
All right, welcome back to another After Dark, everyone. Hope you all having a good night so far. Hope you guys had a wonderful day. So I had a member's request to check out this video here. This is from Jimmy High Roller, which I rarely do these days. However, this one I think is going to be very interesting. It's titled "This MVP Race Makes No Sense," and we're talking about this year's MVP race, and I'm ready to go on this one because my vote is going to be Wemby. All right, I'll say it clear before any influence from the video, before we get any stats or numbers or anything like that. There's one clear reason. Okay, you got Luka, great on offense, terrible on defense. You've got, who else is there? You got Jokic, amazing on offense, decent on defense. And I'm a big fan, by the way. Like, I'm just honestly critiquing. Decent on defense. You've got SGA, very good on defense, great on offense. So he's right up there. Then you got Wemby, phenomenal, great on offense, and the best defender in the league. I think we got to give it to the guy who's the best on both ends. That's where I'm going to come at this whole video. My perspective is going to be with that angle. And that's how I truly believe it, because basketball is you got to play offense and defense. Offense is only half. So I know Luka is putting up crazy offensive numbers, but he's only playing one side of the ball. Could he win MVP in a year where there's not any great defenders? Absolutely. But in a year where there's great players playing both sides of the ball at a dominant level, I'm sorry, Luka, you don't win MVP for that. If there was, like Wemby said, if there was an offensive player of the year, it would go to Luka in my mind. You know how and he had a good point too. There's a defensive player of the year. Why not have an offensive player of the year? I totally agree with Wemby on that, because in that case, I'd be advocating for Luka. Give it to him all day this year. But as far as the all-around most valuable player, how can I go against a guy like Wemby, who's doing it on both ends? Not only that, we're talking most valuable player. Who else is showing more value to their team right now? He took this team from the dumpster all the way to now being a championship contender this season, like within 2 years. It's mind-blowing what he's accomplished. So anyways, that's my perspective. So now you know I'm not going to be manipulated or whatever. I said it, and now let's see what Jimmy has to say. Guys, thanks for being here. Link is down below for the original video. Also, you'll see a list of channel members. Shout out to you guys. That was a long intro. Let's get right into this. Like the video if you could, and let's rock.
The question: is a player averaging a near 30-point triple-double worthy of an MVP? What about a player having one of the greatest defensive seasons of all time? Or how about a player averaging 34 points who put up 40 a game for an entire month? Is he worthy of the award? Or what about a player who is having the most efficient 30-piece in the history of the NBA on his way to 65 wins? Now, the answer is pretty simple. All of these seasons are worthy of an MVP. But what if all of these seasons are happening at the same time?
Yeah.
4 players, 4 legitimate cases being made, and only 1 award.
Yep.
Who should be the NBA's most valuable player this season? Well, that depends on who you ask and what they value.
Yeah, there you go, Jimmy. That's exactly it. What do you value? And that's why I stated it ahead of time. Y'all know how I feel about this. It's also why my favorite players of all time are always the two-way players.
Today's video is sponsored by Chime, a financial app that helps you save more and manage your money better. With Chime, saving has never been easier. A lot of people have money sitting in a regular savings account earning almost nothing. But Chime's high-yield savings account earns 3% APY, which is about 7 times higher than the national average, meaning your money grows with no extra effort. My favorite feature is the Savings Goals tool, where you can set targets and track your progress in real time. It's great for saving for a vacation or a big purchase and makes saving feel more intentional. You can also automate transfers or turn on roundups so small amounts get added into savings from everyday purchases.
Yeah.
It's all designed to help you stay consistent while keeping it simple, and your money isn't locked, so you can access it at any time.
I used this app for a little bit, about 4 or 5 years ago. I did like that roundup feature. Because, you look in your account and you're like, oh, yeah, check that out. Got some money
Plus,
in here.
your funds are FDIC insured through Chime's bank partners, so you know your money is secure. If you haven't filed your taxes yet, you can file federal and state taxes for free through the Chime app and get your refund up to 5 days early with direct deposit. Make the switch to Chime today by going to chime.com/Jimmy, linked in the description below.
Jimmy.
That's chime.com/Jimmy. Or you can scan the QR code on the screen. It only takes a few minutes to sign up, and you deserve to keep more of your money and earn on it.
Here we go.
Winning the MVP usually means putting up numbers that jump off the stat sheet. It's not the only thing that matters, but big eye-popping box scores have almost become a prerequisite for the MVP award. And right now there's 2 players who don't just stand out this season, they stand out amongst every season. If we just look at raw box score numbers, Jokic and Luka are gapping the entire league this season. Their numbers have gotten so absurd that they make Shai's 31, 4, and 7 look kind of normal.
I mean, not that this should affect the voting at all, but just something to point out. Dude, Wemby plays like 30 minutes a game, usually. And I'm just saying, once again, not to say that's why he's the MVP. No, just what he's... Look at the numbers, guys. Imagine if he was playing like 40 minutes, another 10 minutes. Like, what would his numbers look like? And will he ever play that long? I'm wondering what happens in the playoffs. Because if he starts playing like 40 minutes a game in the playoffs and stays healthy, what are we going to be looking at? Like 35 a game, 17 rebounds or something, like, 5 assists, 2 steals, 5 blocks. Like, what are we about to witness? I'm actually really excited to watch the Spurs in the playoffs this year. Anyways, I'll shut up. Let's go.
Their per game points, rebounds, and assists, and Jokic and Luka are having 2 of the top 5 most productive seasons in modern NBA history. Jokic joining the 50 Club, an exclusive group that was previously only occupied by 2017 MVP Russell Westbrook, 2025 Jokic, and 2024 Luka. But if sheer numbers alone guaranteed a player an MVP, then Jokic would have won the award in 2025.
Oh, yeah.
And Luka would have won it in 2024. So would James Harden in 2019, Luka again in 2023, and LeBron in 2018.
And I mean, if you're just going numbers, yeah, like Russ would have won it every single year that he averaged a triple-double.
As box score numbers continue to climb across the NBA, so does the frequency of these historically significant seasons. In fact, 17 of the last 20 most productive seasons in modern NBA history have all came in just the last 8 years. Seasons like this, that were once not only warrant of an MVP, but were historic milestones, are now becoming an annual occasion for players like Jokic, Luka, and Giannis. And the more often we see these shockingly large numbers, the more the shock wears off. It wasn't long ago when averaging a triple-double all but guaranteed Russell Westbrook an MVP as a 6th seed.
Yep.
But in today's NBA, averaging a near 30-point triple-double might not even land you in the top 3 spots for the MVP.
Well, we got to remember the value of the team thing too. So if your team is no longer like contending for anything, then it don't matter if you averaged a 30-point triple-double in a regular season. Like, who cares? The value part comes from you're helping your team win. That's the value. They're paying you money to win, to help the organization win. So you're getting that value back as an organization with the winning. That's just how this relationship goes.
Unlike other superstars around the league who fill the stat sheet with historic volume, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has maintained his spot as the MVP favorite with a season of record-breaking efficiency and consistency, all while spearheading the best team in the league. According to ESPN's net points stat, Shai has only had 5 bad games all season. In fact, there has only been one season in the history of the league where a guard was more efficient than Shai at scoring the ball while averaging at least 30 a game. And it was by the greatest shooter of all time, having the greatest season of his career.
Wow.
But to say Shai has simply been efficient this season would be an understatement. So far this season, Shai is scoring 1.6 points every time he shoots the ball. That is the most points per shot by any volume scoring guard in the history of the NBA.
Interesting. I wonder what if you compare that to some of the most dominant centers, that would shake it up a little bit. But yeah, it's cool to see it with guards.
26 Shai Gilgeous-Alexander isn't having one of the most efficient seasons by a guard. He is having the most efficient season of all time.
Damn.
Now, when stacked up against these three, Victor Wembanyama's numbers pale in comparison. A lot of his value coming on the defensive side of the ball, and I don't think you'll find any never minds on the stat sheet. But Victor has been on a minutes restriction all year. If we standardize these numbers on a per 75 basis,
Do it, inflate it.
and you can really see just how much Wemby is impacting the game every time he's on the court, with box score numbers that match these other candidates, even as a player who doesn't.
Man, Jokic is impressive with his rebounding, man. Jokic is always so damn impressive. To be fair, I think he's gotten better at defense over the last season and a half. He's just not. I don't think he'll ever be on that level of great defender. Shai, he could get there. He's already a very, very good defender. Luka, I don't think he has it in him. Wemby, he's already that guy.
Favor offense. However,
I'm going to be really curious what your guys' what your opinions are going to be on this, like who you think is the MVP this year, because this is a very interesting, very interesting race, because I know a lot of people are saying Luka, and those are the guys who just watch highlights. You know, they just care about offense. You got Jokic, who's like the most all around balanced offensive player. Like we've seen in a long time, one of the top of all time when it comes to that. A guy who's crushing it on both ends, and a guy who's crushing it on offense and is doing very good on defense too. It's a cool race.
earning the title as the most valuable player in basketball requires value that goes far beyond the box score. But even looking past the raw numbers doesn't make this decision any easier.
Yeah, impact. I mean, I think like one of the only ways to judge this is like what happens when all these guys go to the bench to like prove how valuable they are to their team. You know what I mean? And I don't have the answer for that, but I think that would be a cool way to look at it. But you have to actually like watch.
Who is the most valuable player this season? That depends on what you value. In terms of estimated plus minus, it is Shai, who not only has a lead on the rest of the league, he has the third highest single season EPM of any player this century, only trailing 2019 MVP James Harden and 2016 MVP Steph Curry. If we look at crafted plus minus, it's Nikola Jokic who reigns as the best player in the league this season, followed by Wemby and Shai. And if we look at daily plus minus, it is Jokic once again who tops the league with a sizable lead on everyone else. If these all-in-one advanced metrics told us everything, Nikola Jokic would be walking away this season with his fourth MVP.
Yeah, it's fair.
Fortunately for the rest of the field, the value a player provides for his team cannot be boiled down to one simple number. According to preseason odds, here are the projected number of wins each team was expected to finish with this season.
Wow. That is a shock. Yeah, I mean, the Spurs way over exceeded my expectations. We knew OKC was going to be there. Denver as well. They're going to be one of the dominant teams in the West. Lakers being so low is kind of goofy considering how stacked their lineup is, but whatever. This one is, this is fair. I thought these guys were going to be good, get into the playoffs this year. I didn't realize how great of a duo Wemby and Stephon Castle were going to be. I become a huge Castle fan.
Now, these projections can be off for a number of reasons. Teams dealing with injuries, unexpected leaps from young players, and of course, the individual impact of an MVP-level player. Coming into the season, the Denver Nuggets were projected to win 54 games. Right now, they are on pace for about 52.
Which is pretty good considering that Jokic was injured.
Projected to finish with about 63 wins, a total they're on pace to surpass by 2 wins. The Lakers were projected to win 47 games, and they're currently on pace for 53. But it is the Spurs who have completely blown away expectations this season. Preseason odds had them winning 45 games this year. They are currently on pace for 62 wins,
let's go.
exceeding projections by 17 wins. If you're looking for who provides the most value, it might be the guy who's transformed the Spurs from playoff hopefuls into title contenders.
And that's part of my opinion. That's part of my angle as far as voting for Wemby.
Looking at the MVP from this angle assigns individual value to team success. And as we all know, despite the MVP being an individual award, more often than not, the perception of a player's value is heavily influenced by the success of their team. After all, if you are truly the most valuable player in basketball, you should be elevating your team to title contention.
Yeah, because if you're just racking up a whole bunch of stats and numbers, yet your team sucks, you're only proving that you're valuable to yourself. You're not valuable to your team. So 100%, numbers are just one part of the equation.
Rather than looking at...
It's why Jordan didn't win more MVPs in the 80s. Because if not, like, we never seen a dude like that before, you know? But, you know, they weren't that great of a team. They were a middle-of-the-road team for the majority of the 80s. So, yeah, he did... What, he won one MVP during that time, I believe? But that's the reason why. And that's also the reason why, like, yeah, you couldn't have somebody like Russell Westbrook, who I'm a fan of, winning MVPs over and over again because his team was no longer a contender, you know?
Success. Let's look at the individual impact these players have on their team.
I'm wondering if that's going to work against Jokic too, because they're kind of like they're not middle of the road, but compared, it's going to work against both Luka and who the hell did I just say? Jokic. In my opinion, the record of their teams are going to work against them because all four of these guys in the West. They're all 4 in the freaking West. So record is going to, OKC's going to have the advantage. Shai's going to have the advantage with the record for sure. So he might be the favorite going in. But it's probably going to be between him and Wemby then because they showed more value to their team this season as far as the wins demonstrate.
Dunks and Threes has a metric called estimated wins that takes the quality of play from any given player plus the minutes they've played throughout the season to get the estimated number of wins they've contributed to their team's total. Our 4 MVP candidates being the top 4 players in the league this season in estimated wins with 13.8, 14.6, 16, and 18. Nikola Jokic is solely responsible for a third of the Nuggets' wins, but it is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander who has contributed the most wins to his team this season. But arguably the most accurate way to assess a player's value is to measure how well their team performs when they're on the court versus when they're off the court. How much does a player's presence directly impact their team? Here are the top 30 players in the league this season and their team's net rating when they're off the court. From the Celtics, who are firing on all cylinders even without Jaylen Brown on the court this season, to the Jazz, who are on the verge of relegation without Lauri Markkanen on the court. And now here is the effect these stars have on their team when they're on the court. With the 4 most impactful players in the league this season being Kawhi.
Dang, that's my guy right now, man. Damn. Where are you? That's my other guy right there. Oh, wow. That is surprise. Wow. Chet and Shai right there. Dang, man.
Jokic, Giannis, and Wemby with the highest net on-off in the entire league of plus 17.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Because we're looking for, we're seeing a difference here. Okay. So these guys are there, but they're still doing the OKC still doing pretty good when they're not out. They're not on the floor.
This means the Spurs are 17 points better per 100 possessions with Wemby on the court.
Oh, yeah.
But
That
this
makes
stat
sense.
also reveals another key factor in the MVP race. We often judge a player's impact on how well their team is playing. This has been a point of contention with the MVP award for years. MVPs go to players on good teams with top seeds, and rightfully so.
I mean, once again, it's because the word value is still in there. If we take the word value out of the award and make it like, you know, like I said, offensive player of the year or something like that, then we could change the game. Or I don't know, most impressive player of the year, something like that. You know, then you could take a guy on a losing team and just be like, wow, this guy's amazing, you know? Think of like early T-Mac or something like that and be like, that's the MVP, man. That's crazy what he's doing. But it's value. Value, you need to win.
But what if a player has MVP level value, but they're on a bad team?
Nope.
With Bam Adebayo on the court, the Heat have a plus 7.8 net rating.
Not happening, Jimmy.
Highest in the entire NBA. On-court impact, that is the difference between the Heat being one of the worst teams in the league and merely the 10th seed. Same goes for Giannis and Kawhi. MVP caliber seasons stifled by injuries and teams that are absolutely lost without them. Purely looking at a team's results, like wins or seeding, ignores how great some of these players have to play just to keep their team competitive.
Yeah. Real quick, just because I have been... I always keep it real. So Kawhi Leonard this season, wow, what a turnaround. The turnaround I never expected to see. The controversy that came out about him couldn't have come out soon enough because ever since then, guy's been hooping. Not only has he been hooping, he's been showing up to work and he's been playing. Like he's actually a basketball player again. And damn, man, he's a very good basketball player. I almost forgot. You know, it's been so long. I wish we got to see more of his career. I wish he played more. And it's unfortunate, but it has been enjoyable this year to watch him hoop again and get out there and do his thing. So yeah, credit where credit's due, man. Because I'll criticize him all day when he's not showing up to work. But right now that he is, yeah, man, this is why I wanted to see you play. You're one of the better players of all time.
With that being said, the MVP award has always valued turning good teams into great teams over turning bad teams into average teams. And with that being the case, here are our 4 MVP frontrunners and the impact they are having on their teams. If you're looking for a player who impacts the game more than anyone else while pushing their team into great territory, then that player is clearly Victor Wembanyama.
And that's why he's got my vote this year and why up until this season, Jokic has been getting my vote because these are the guys I see as the most impactful on their team. And a lot of it, you know, like with Jokic, he controls a lot of the offense. So, of course he is. It reminds me of Larry Bird back in the day. You take him out of the roster, your identity is gone.
Who is head and shoulders above the rest of the league in terms of the impact his presence has on his team. Now, it's important to note that the on-off metric doesn't measure how well an individual player is playing, but rather how well a team is playing while that individual is on the court. So what if we look at this the other way around? What if we directly measure a player's individual impact and how that affects their team's success? This is ESPN Analytics net point stat, and it divides credit and blame to each player on the court for every play of the game to measure the impact of each individual player. The higher the total net points, the more that player has contributed to their team's wins throughout the course of a season. In fact, the metric is so indicative of a player's value that ESPN literally calls it their MVP stat. For example, last year's 2 MVP finalists, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic, finished the 2025 season within 9 net points of each other. The next closest player was Tyrese Halliburton, with about half as many. If you want to...
Wow. Giannis, Luka, Harden, Tatum.
know why last year's MVP race was so historic and so close? Well, you're looking at it. But this year, the results of an entire season of basketball have turned out much different. There's no race in this MVP stat. There's no back and forth at the top of the leaderboard. There's no battle for the #1 spot. It's just one guy, way ahead of everyone else.
What the hell?
Who is truly the most valuable player in the NBA?
Well, I'm actually surprised by that chart right there. I thought that was going to be Jokic and then Wemby second. Wow. Shai is having a hell of an impact on his team, huh?
That all depends on who you're asking and what they value.
Yep, I know. Yeah, this is a good video, man. This right here, wow. This is the kind of Jimmy content that I used to really love. This is cool. I hate to say it, but like any video Jimmy does that does not involve LeBron is kind of a banger. Making the case.
With just a couple weeks left in the season, the MVP race has become so close that there is no clear consensus on who the actual most valuable player in the league is. One source will say it's Luka, another will say it's Wemby, and another will tell you it's Shai. According to Basketball Reference's MVP tracker, it is Nikola Jokic who has a firm grasp on the top spot with a 60% chance of winning the MVP.
Wow.
Ask the fans who they think should be the MVP, and you'll get a completely different answer.
I'm hearing a lot of fans say Luka. That's what's surprising, because I hate to say it, but because of the way I judge basketball, he is the last one out of these four on my list. And I mean, yeah, he's exploding on offense. It's great to watch. But as far as MVP goes, no. Best offensive player of the year, I'd give him that award. But I am actually surprised. I'm seeing a lot of comments and a lot of takes from basketball fans, like basically saying like, you know, he deserves it. He's never going to win one if he doesn't win one now. Like, what does he have to do to win it? And all I'm thinking is he's got to play some defense. Like, that's it. That's the answer. What does he got to do? That. Because if he was even a very good defender right now, and he's putting up offensive numbers like this, he's the MVP, hands down.
A couple weeks ago, NBA Central on Twitter asked fans, who is the NBA's most valuable player?
I like seeing Jaylen Brown up there, by the way. Man, did he hold down the fort for Boston this year.
The options being Shai, Luka, Wemby, or Jaylen Brown. Within days, nearly 76,000 fans casted their votes, and running away with over 62% of all the votes as the clear winner was Luka Doncic.
You. I know, yeah, there's like a campaign going on online for Luka. Or that's just the priorities of young fans. That's the priority of the young fans of basketball, is just offense.
A late season surge by Luka, averaging nearly 40 points a game for an entire month. And efforts
I know, yeah. Divorced Luka is freaking crazy right now.
Slingshotted him up to second place on the MVP ladder. Unfortunately, it's not the fans who get to vote for this award, it's the media. And for them, there has been one clear-cut leader throughout the entire season. Recently, the NBA did its annual MVP straw poll, a survey
February 20th, okay,
asking a panel of 100 media members who they think this season's MVP is. The results? Finishing in fifth was Luka Doncic, who received 0 first-place votes.
Wow, okay.
In fourth was Victor Wembanyama.
Wow.
In third was Cade Cunningham.
Cade.
In second was Nikola Jokic.
I thought Cade didn't play enough games to qualify.
And with a resounding 78 of the 100 first-place votes,
Here it is.
was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Wow. 78 versus what I'm voting for, which is 3. Wow. Okay.
Now, this
27, 5th place. Total vote 75. So Wemby's on everyone's mind, but not as number one. Okay.
poll was conducted back on February 20th, 2 full months before the end of the season. And a lot can and has changed over that time. But in 2025, the same media straw poll was conducted around the same time, and they accurately picked the MVP last season.
71st place versus 31st place, okay.
They also accurately picked the MVP in 2024 and in 2023.
Oh, damn.
And in 2022.
Oh, damn. Okay, so Shai's about to win MVP again, it looks like.
And in every single season since the introduction of this mid-season MVP poll in 2016.
I mean, you guys know like who I'm a fan of, who I'm not really a fan of, but at least if Shai's going to win MVP, at least he does play hard on both ends. I can live with that. It's just if Luka wins, I'm going to be mad because it's not. You can't win it. You can't win it in a year where there are two guys here that play really good defense or great defense.
Over the course of the entire season, 9 different players have slid in and out of the MVP leaderboard, from Luka and Cade to Brunson and Jaylen Brown. But the first half of the season was all Nikola Jokic, dominating the #1 spot for 10 consecutive weeks.
By the way, I don't watch a lot of Pistons games. Is Cade coming back for the playoffs? Is he going to be there? Because I hope so. I wanted to see those guys at least make it to the conference finals this year.
It wasn't until an injury sidelined him for a month when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander snagged the top spot and held on to it in what some people described as a runaway victory. At least it was, up until last week, when for the first time in his young career, Victor Wembanyama grabbed the top spot as the MVP frontrunner. The biggest catalyst in Victor's climb to the #1 spot, not necessarily being his play on the court, which has been strong and consistent throughout the entire season. It's what he said off the court.
3 arguments.
I love this.
My first one would be that defense is 50% of the game.
Yes.
And that it is undervalued. So far in the MVP race, I believe I'm the most impactful player defensively in the league.
100%.
Second argument would be we almost swept OKC in the season and we dominated them.
I forgot about that. That's a good point, man. So yeah, if you're talking about who's the MVP, why couldn't Shai beat Wemby once in a regular season? Interesting. I also like this because it's like leading up to the playoffs. So it's like, you know, that's going to piss off OKC a little bit. I want to see like the coolest Western Conference Finals ever. Like I'm going back to like the Lakers versus Spurs kind of conference finals we had in the 2000s. Like I want to see something like that here between OKC and San Antonio. I want to see 7 games of absolute warfare.
Argument would be that
hold on,
swept OKC in the season and we dominated them. My third argument would be that offense impact is not just sports.
Wait, what?
We dominated them. My third argument would be that offense impact is not just sports.
Immediately after this interview,
What did he say there? Offense impacts are not just sports? What am I missing? I know that's not what he said.
It's not just sports.
It's not just sports. Okay.
That offense impact is
not just sports. What does he mean by this?
not just sports.
Oh, it's not just points. Offensive impact is not just points. 100%. 100% I'm with you, Wemby. That's also something that can make a case for Jokic as well.
Immediately after this interview, Wemby's odds to win MVP shot up from plus 1,900 to plus 225, pushing Luka into the 3rd spot and turning this late season battle.
It's crazy. How has anyone been sleeping on Victor Wembanyama this season? Maybe his rookie year, but this year, like I feel like this is the freaking nature we have. We've been waiting for somebody who's different. This guy's completely different than any other star in the NBA right now as far as play style. I thought he'd get more attention than this.
At least on paper, into a 2-man race. If the MVP strictly went to the best player on the best team, then for the same reason he won it last season, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would be crowned as the league's most valuable player. If the award went to the player who has the largest impact on his team, then Victor Wembanyama would become the youngest MVP in the history of the league.
Damn, let's go.
If the award was for the most dominant player in the league, Nikola Jokic would be a 4-time MVP by the end of the season.
Yeah. Best all-around player would be kind of cool too. Like if you just take out the wins and the value, just like best all-around player, that would be Jokic.
If the fans had a say in it, Luka Doncic would be walking away as the league's most valuable player. With 2 weeks left in the season, the MVP race has grown closer than it's ever been. And with 4 players who all have a legitimate case for the award, only one can earn the title as the NBA's most valuable player.
Cool video. Just one last thing before I roll the outro. Hold on. Where are you there? I'm going to leave it with this image. Because I had a complete. You guys know my opinion on the MVP and all that, and it's going to be fun to find out who gets it. Guys, put in your opinions in the comments. Anyways, not one of these guys was born in the United States. Not one. Shai, Victor, Nicola, Luca. I think this is the point where we need to just admit it. The best talent in basketball is not coming from the United States anymore. That long run is over. They're coming out of Europe, man. Like it is really crazy to see. And there's a little bit of a gatekeeper inside of me, but it's not. It's also, this should like raise red flags. Whatever we're doing here in the United States to train and prepare our players for the pros, we're doing something wrong. And we can have a whole different conversation about that, but I just wanted to, the image right there is something that I think we all need to accept now. There's not one homegrown American that's on this list. And it's interesting because I would argue that most of the American players I see nowadays, they play almost identical to each other. And all of the freaking natures, the unicorns are coming out elsewhere, because they were trained differently. And that's all it is. They were trained and prepared differently for a different style of basketball than what the NBA is. So when they go to the NBA, they probably find it to be easy, compared to what they were prepared for. And that's why they're dominating so much. So anyways, I just thought that was very interesting because 4 people on that list as far as who's going to win MVP this year, and all of them, correct me if I'm wrong, they're all coming out of just Europe, right? Like nowhere else but Europe for now, but still not United States. Very interesting, guys. This was a great video. Just got to keep it real. This was a really informative and entertaining and non-biased video. I very much so enjoyed it. So thank you for the request to watch it. I do not watch enough Jimmy High Roller these days, and this kind of made me miss it because this is a good video. So anyways, guys, now it's your turn. You heard all my opinions, heard all my views, my prerequisites, and all that. Now it's your turn. Who do you think the MVP should be this year, and what do you value as far as what you're looking for an MVP candidate? Okay. Let's do it. I'm very curious because I know we're all different with this one. So, all right, let me know down below. And thanks for watching, everyone. Like the vid on the way out if you could. Subscribe if you want more content like this. And most importantly, is to be water, my friends. Peace out.